Hi, guys, welcome to Spill the Beans. I'm here today with Taylor,
Hey.
and you can probably tell by the title what this is going to be about, but yeah, we're just going to jump right into it. So, Taylor, take me back to the beginning. How did you get into this line of work?
Okay, so excuse me. I'm getting over having a cold and stuff. I'm so sorry. So it would go back to when I was probably like 14 or so, somewhere around then, 13, 14 in high school. Um, I um like discovered alternative modeling. Um, And it always piqued my interest. I always thought it was so cool. And like, these girls were so awesome and so pretty. And they were just so empowered, by their bodies and like just being them. And I thought that was so cool. So, I always like looked up to them and, it was just pretty much like idolizing them. You know what I mean? Um, but um, yeah, that would be where it all began. Um, from there,
So, you pretty much like made it your goal to be like a suicide girl.
yes, exactly. Although I didn't know what those were at first, I had just seen like, um, just like Google photos. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
um, I didn't discover what a suicide girl was until I was about 16. And that's when I really knew, this is exactly what I want to do. These girls are so gorgeous and so open and, they're all tattooed and like super cool hair, it's so cool. So, yeah, that really solidified for me. This is what I'm going to do. Somehow, someday, that's what I'm going to do.
Okay, so like how did you kind of I'm not sure, do suicide girls do online content, or is that like a separate world, or
Yeah, their content is online. They have a website. Um, and what happens is, because all of my things got accepted into Suicide Girls as well, so super cool. But what happens is you have a set, typically 40 to 60 photos that go from fully dressed and then all the way down to nude. Um, and you send in a photo set, and if it gets chosen for set of the day, then you get $500, and your set is like featured on their Instagram and featured on their actual site. Um, so, yeah, that's super duper cool.
awesome. So I mean, I know that you're on Twitter, you're on OnlyFans. How did you get started with all that, and kind of, um, what was the beginning point? I mean, I don't think that there was always an OnlyFans, so what did you do before then?
So before I made an OnlyFans, I had a little like lewd Instagram page. It was totally free. I wasn't selling content at all, but I realized how great it made me feel. You know what I mean? Personally, like it made my confidence just like skyrocket. And I needed that because, I haven't always been super confident at all. Um, but I started on Instagram, and then from Instagram, um, I went to OnlyFans. I found out what OnlyFans was. Not to like brag or anything, but that I know of, I was one of the first people like in my area that had an OnlyFans. So that's pretty neat. But I went to OnlyFans. Well, hold on. I'm going to backtrack. So from that Instagram, I started getting requests for people to buy nudes, you know? So I was like, man, I can do this and I can make money. Well, my husband at the time, my now ex-husband, he did not enjoy it at all. He hated it. Like, was super against it, whatever. But I told him, this is what makes me happy. This is what I'm going to do because it's been so long since I focused on my happiness, you know? And there's just something about, you know, I don't know, being nude and sharing that with other people that just makes me feel fulfilled. It makes me feel happy, makes me feel open and transparent, you know, and I enjoy that. But I started selling nudes through Instagram and like text and stuff like that, just to like people that I knew. Then coincidentally, I discovered what OnlyFans was because I found out my husband at the time was purchasing girls' OnlyFans. And so I looked it up to see what it was. And I was like, oh shit, this is perfect. And he can't say anything because I just found out that he's been buying girls' OnlyFans. You know what I mean? So he can't say shit to me if I were to do this. So I started my little OnlyFans page. And at first, it was like totally dead. Like nobody really, you know, knew what OnlyFans was around here. It was totally dead. But I kept doing it, and, you know, I'd make a little money here and there. But it was more of just doing something that made me feel good rather than looking for money out of it. It wasn't like a job, you know, like it is now. So my ex-husband started making content with me, and reluctantly, but I called him out. So, you know, it was either, you know, help me out, or, you know, I'm just going to be like super bummed about you purchasing other people's OnlyFans. Anyway, so we started making content, and then I started doing more solo work on OnlyFans, I suppose. Where am I? Where was I going with this? Shit, I'm so sorry.
You're fine.
I just totally blanked. So anyway, I was doing OnlyFans, and then from there, I learned that Twitter was a great way to advertise. You got, you know, a pretty decent following. I started at like 400 followers. This is just a couple of years ago. I just started using Twitter a couple years ago. But I had like 400 followers from my previous account. So I ended up building it up over the course of, you know, about 2 years. I now have 17.7 thousand followers.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's wild. It's gotten up to 18.8 thousand, but since it became X, it's just, it's awful.
Yeah.
Yeah, Elon he really fucked it up for everybody.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've lost some followers. I'm not super active on there anymore. However, I have picked up a new line of work, I suppose, that I focus more so on now. I have started live camming. I use Chatterbait, but I live cam all the time, and that has been like my biggest, source of income, my biggest audience, and it's so, so damn cool because I have regulars that come in and we just chit chat, like, I don't start out on live cam in lingerie or, topless or anything like that. I'm typically no makeup on and in pajamas because I cam in the mornings. So I'm typically in pajamas with no makeup on, and it's so cool that these people, take time out of their day to come like virtually hang out with me. You know what I mean? Sometimes we just sit there and listen to music. And like on Chatterbait, you have a menu that you can create. And for, X amount of tokens, I'll get up and I'll do a twirl. Or for, this amount of tokens, I'll flash, people can choose that. And we still do that throughout. But a lot of the times, like, I don't even have to do anything like nude. It's pretty cool. Although I do still do OnlyFans, so there's definitely still nude stuff. But it is really cool just to be able to hang out with people and make new connections and, have those friendships rather than just a customer, like a buyer-seller relationship. You know what I mean?
Right, right. Like you're actually building relationships with your clients.
Exactly that. At the moment, I am also a professional dominatrix. I offer doming sessions and foot worship sessions and things of that nature. And that's super cool too because you form, different kinds of relationships that way as well. My personal favorite is a foot worship session though, because for me that shows like the utmost respect. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Were you gonna say something? I'm
No,
sorry.
no, no, no,
I
no.
feel like I cut you off.
You're good. I have a lot of questions, but I'm just kind of letting you lead the way right now.
Anytime you have a question, like throw it in. I got you.
I'm just wondering if, have you ever gotten any odd requests for content?
Oh, okay. So I'll share my oddest request. Okay, just to put it out there, I turned this down because I could not fathom doing it. Okay. So, one of my submissives really, they're considered a human toilet, and I'm sure you can imagine, you can put that together. And, okay, so outside of, sex work, I'm a cake decorator. I feel like that's so wholesome. I'm a baker and cake decorator. But, so he knew that, and he wanted me to collect my bodily waste.
Like your poop or your pee?
Do what?
Your poop or your pee?
Oh, both.
Oh, okay.
Both. he wanted me to collect those and bake them into like baked goods and send them to him. And okay, so I got as far as I went to the Dollar Tree and I got like specific baking supplies and I labeled them, you know what I mean? And I was just gonna throw them away afterwards. But I got the supplies and then I was really heavily thinking about it. And I was like, man, I can't put that in my fucking oven. I can't do that.
Yeah.
I cannot. Absolutely no. I have done some pretty crazy requests, but that was just one that just was too far for me.
Yeah, I know that some people, they like crush things with their butt, or they like, I don't know, like cover themselves in shaving cream, or like, there's all kinds of stuff that people are into. Popping balloons, I've seen that.
Oh yeah. So I do some splashing at times, which is where you sit on cakes or baked goods or, really just food at all. But since I'm a baker, sometimes what I do on cam is I'll do like topless baking. And, you just hang out with me while I bake and with titties out, whatever. And then I'll splosh whatever I have made. And it's popular. People love it.
So have you ever had a client that kind of went a little bit too far with you, maybe creeped you out, or kind of came off a little bit like stalkerish?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I've had to block several people. God, there was one person that tried to tell me, like, he knew where I lived and stuff like that, which, I mean, unless he really did, like, some investigative work, there's just no way to put that together. But, I don't put my location on anything. So, that was a little creepy. That was real weird. I had to hit that block button real fast with the quickness.
Is that something that kind of comes with the territory, you think? Like, well, this is what I do for work, so I guess I have to deal with these people.
In a way, yes, I guess. Because, I mean, don't get me wrong, there are fantastic people that enjoy, my content and, that are subscribed to me, that get sessions from me. There are fantastic people. But my stuff is open to, like, the public, So there's gonna be, those kind of creepy people. That's just, I mean, it's inevitable. Can you shut it down real quick? Absolutely. But it's totally inevitable. It's like, I was going to try to equate it to something, but I can't think of anything good to equate it to.
So, I mean, when that does happen, I mean, does it ever make you regret, like, choosing this line of work, or are you just kind of like, yeah, whatever, another day?
No, I don't think there's been anything that has made me regret this line of work. Excuse me. There hasn't been anything that has made me genuinely feel like, oh my God, I need to stop doing this, or, I can't believe that I've done this. Even like my parents finding out what I do, they're really supportive. Like, they're totally cool with it. Do they super duper enjoy it? No. But they're still, like, supportive. And, like the other day, I took this really banging ass picture, okay? And it was just so good. And everything was, like, covered. It was, like, a lewd. But I called my mom and I was like, Mom, can I send you this picture that I took the other day? I was like, it just makes me feel really pretty. And she was like, of course. And so I sent it to her and she replied back that I looked so beautiful. And she was like, I'm so proud of you. And I was just like, oh, it felt so good. So, I mean, back to what I was saying before I went off on that tangent. No, I don't think there's anything that has ever made me regret doing what I do. I absolutely adore what I do. I love it.
That's awesome. And it's awesome that they're so supportive of what you do. Do you think that, I mean, has there ever been anybody that has condemned you for what you do?
So my great aunt, she saw a picture that I had posted on Facebook, and it was, I mean, a little revealing, but it wasn't, I mean, it's Facebook guidelines, it was fine. But she lost her shit. She started texting my mom and my grandma and was like, oh my God, have you seen this? And, my mom was just kind of like, oh my God, what did you post for her to freak out like that? And I showed her and she was like, oh my God, that's not even, it's nothing. So, yeah, my great aunt was really the only one that, really tripped about it. Everybody's been really, really supportive, actually.
Have you ever had any, like, I don't want to say potential clients, but just, people coming in on Twitter, like, kind of, I don't know, looking down on you for what you do, or, just being rude about it?
Oh, I get shit about it all the time. I mean, I'm sure, people have seen the memes and like posts about girls that do OnlyFans and how they can't be wife material. And I'm like, dude, shut the fuck up, because I have an ex-husband and I'm about to get married again. So kiss my ass. But, yeah, there's a lot of really hateful things that people say, and they just make assumptions. They want to assume that, like, oh, I only do this because I'm not, smart enough, I'm not capable enough to do anything else, and that's not true. I was in college for psychology. I wanted to be a therapist. I mean, I'm a very intelligent lady. I'm really chill. I'd say I'm pretty fucking cool. I'm nice. I treat, I claim him as my husband already, but I treat my husband really, really nice. I just enjoy sharing my body with the world, and I just so happen to make money off of it. I mean, why wouldn't you?
Right.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. I was just agreeing with you, but speaking of relationships though, I mean, has it ever gotten in the way of your relationships or hindered you from being with certain people?
So just my ex-husband, actually. After he started making content with me for a little while, he just all of a sudden just changed up again and hated it, just absolutely hated it. So ultimately one day, I told him, look, it's either, you accept what makes me happy and you accept what I'm doing, or I'm at the point where you can get the fuck out, So, yeah, I did ultimately choose my happiness over him, and I think that was a big part of why we split. Definitely not like the most, important part, but it was a part of why we split. He couldn't handle it. He hated it. But I met my husband, literally on Tinder, literally like 4 days after I kicked my ex-husband out. So
Wow, you got lucky.
I did. Okay, so I had this thought that oh, I'm just gonna hoe around for a little while, I've been married, I don't like it, whatever. So I was just gonna hoe myself out a little bit, have some fun. And I matched with him, and I realized that back in, so we met in 2020. Yeah, 2020. Um, so whenever I matched with him, I realized that he had done some of my tattoos back in 2014 whenever I was like 18. And I thought he was so cute back then, but he was married at the time. So, I never said anything. And then, that was in December of 2014. So fast forward to like January of the next year, just like a month later, I saw him with his wife at a Walmart, and I was like, holy shit, she's so pretty. Like, they're going to be together forever. I'm never going to have a chance with that guy, but he is so cute. And then we fucking matched on Tinder and totally had the intention, both of us had the intention of just like hanging out and hooking up. But, yeah, we started hanging out every single day, and, it just happened.
That's cute.
Thanks.
So,
Yeah.
I think probably the last question that I have, maybe I'll come up with one more, but I think the last question that I have is, what do you say to people who kind of look down on you for what you do?
You know, I don't. Can I be honest? I really don't, say anything except for, it's my body. You gonna cry about what I do with my body? What the hell kind of sense does that make? How does that affect you at all? If I want to be naked on the internet, that doesn't affect you, So, I mean, what is the point? It's silly, It's hateful and it's silly. But I try not to say anything to anybody. I don't want to be like super negative, and I just, I don't want anything to do with anybody negative. So I either, just don't talk to the person at all, or I just block them, because a lot of that hate comes from online. So just block them and don't deal with it at all, because it doesn't matter what anybody says. I'm going to do what I want to do.
Right, right. So, I've heard a lot of people say that people that are specifically like against doing any kind of sex work, I've heard them say that, oh, sex workers, they don't respect themselves. What would you say to that?
That's bullshit. You have to respect yourself a lot to put your body on the internet, actually. Because we all have the understanding that it's not just nudity and sex. This is actually, it's art. I don't care who you are, how if you want to say it's not, whatever, fuck it. It is. It is art. Having to, especially, the content creation, that is art, more so than, like, professional doming and stuff like that. But, you have to find the right poses, you have to find the right outfits, you have to find the right lighting, the setting. I mean, okay, so I take all of my pictures myself. I use I use a little ring light and an iPhone 7. Okay? It's shitty. But having to, work on that myself, I'm basically like the photographer and the model and the editor. You know what I mean? I do everything.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
Yeah, it's an art. You have to respect yourself to, put yourself out there like that.
Yeah. So also, you mentioned being a dominatrix. What is that like?
Oh, goodness. It's so much fun. Oh, goodness. There's a lot of adrenaline, honestly, whenever I dom. So with my subs, we're not strictly on like a dom sub level, you know. Like I said earlier, I like to create like genuine relationships and connections with, you know, my subs, my clients, my customers. So, you know, there's some times where I'm super fucking serious and I'm like, you know, using my little paddle and like smacking them in the face and like spitting in their face and like, you know, really like being a bitch. But there are other times where we're sitting there giggling together and, you know, just kind of hanging out as pals. But, you know, like with a foot worship session and stuff, hanging out as pals, but like you're, you know, doing whatever with my feet, you know, but it's super casual sometimes. So, you know, sometimes it's super hard work, actually. Sometimes there are things that people want to do and, you know, really desire to do that I'm just, you know, not comfortable with. I had some guy want me to lock him in a hotel room closet, stay the night there, and then let him out in the morning. And I'm not doing that. I'm not staying the night with you in the room. Like, absolutely not. So, I don't know. It's a crazy experience, honestly.
Yeah, it sounds like it, and I just want to say thank you so much for having this conversation with me. I think that's all the questions that I have. Do you have anything that you want to add, or do you have any advice for people that are looking to go into this industry?
My only advice would be comfortable with yourself. Hold yourself really high, and you know, have confidence, because it doesn't matter what you look like. Period. Like, full stop. It does not matter what you look like. As long as you're carrying yourself with that confidence, like, you know, you're, you know, that bitch or that, you know, that dude, you're gonna produce banging content. You're gonna, you know, give that vibe off. And that is what attracts people. So, you know, be comfortable with yourself, respect yourself, don't take anybody's shit, and have fun.
All right. Thank you so much. I think that's all we've got for today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. And remember, if you have a submission, just email spillthebeans, beans with a Z, .podcast1 at gmail.com. Bye.